Imagine waking up one morning, groggily stumbling out of bed, and pulling back your curtains, only to see a massive, shimmering arc of rock and ice stretching across the sky. No, you're not still dreaming. Earth now has rings. Not just any rings, though. We're talking about Saturn-style rings, the kind that make other planets jealous. And if you think this is just some aesthetic upgrade, oh boy, you're in for a ride. Because having rings around Earth wouldn't just make for some jaw-dropping Instagram shots. It would fundamentally change life as we know it. First off, let's talk about the obvious. The sky would never look the same again. Right now, depending on where you live, you might see a clear blue expanse during the day or a star-filled masterpiece at night. But with rings, the view would be spectacular. During the day, they'd stretch across the sky like a cosmic highway, reflecting sunlight and casting intricate patterns of light and shadow over the Earth. At night, they'd glow faintly, illuminated by the sun or the occasional city lights. And if you live near the equator, where the rings would appear most dramatic, forget about ever seeing a truly dark night sky again. Those rings are going to dominate your view. But the real fun begins when you start thinking about how these rings would affect life down here. Because they wouldn't just be a pretty decoration, they'd mess with everything. For starters, let's talk about sunlight. Right now, the way Earth gets its light is fairly simple. The sun rises, the sun sets, and in between, we get our dose of warmth and vitamin D. But rings would complicate things. Depending on their size and composition, they could cast huge shadows across the planet, leading to some very interesting climate effects. Imagine standing in one of these shadow zones. Your city might suddenly experience weird twilight-like conditions in the middle of the day. Temperatures in certain areas could drop unexpectedly. Some places might even see mini ice ages forming because they're now getting less direct sunlight. And if that doesn't sound dramatic enough, remember that weather patterns are very sensitive to changes in heat and light. So, congratulations! You just made the climate even more unpredictable than it already is. And speaking of unpredictability, let's talk about space debris. Because while Saturn's rings may look serene from a distance, they're actually made up of countless bits of ice, rock, and dust, all orbiting at high speeds. Now, imagine a chunk of that decides it doesn't want to be part of the ring anymore. Where does it go? Yep, straight toward Earth. We'd essentially be living under a cosmic shooting gallery. Every so often, small bits of rock would break away from the rings and rain down toward the surface. Most of them would burn up in the atmosphere, sure, but every now and then something big might make it through. And when space rocks collide with the planet, well, let's just say that history has not been kind to civilizations that find themselves in the path of a meteor. But it's not all bad news. Rings would also give us some fantastic new scientific opportunities. Right now, studying space debris requires expensive telescopes and satellites. With rings, we'd have a front-row seat to one of the most fascinating astrophysical phenomena in the solar system. Scientists could study planetary rings without ever leaving Earth. That's like having an alien ecosystem in our backyard. And let's not forget the cultural impact. Because if you think people love astrology now, just wait until we have giant celestial rings looming over us 24/7. The number of myths, superstitions, and zodiac-based conspiracy theories would skyrocket overnight. Your horoscope would no longer be just about the stars. It'd be about which part of the ring was shining the brightest when you were born. So, would Earth having Saturn's rings be cool? Absolutely. Would it also completely upend our climate, society, and possibly our survival? Oh yeah. In short, beautiful to look at, terrible to live with. If you enjoyed this wild thought experiment, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next deep dive into absurd science. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.